Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 400 based on novel. So let's start. Wang Lin couldn't guess what had happened to cause Tuol Sen to give up chasing him and escape so anxiously. He remembered that one of Tuol Sen's star had given off a dazzling glow before he escaped. Ripples slowly spread in a bright part of the ancient star system. The ripples were like the hearts of two lovers that were gradually getting more and more distant. Wang Lin staggered out of the center of the ripples. His face was pale, and the moment he appeared, he clawed at the void. A spatial crack appeared before him and he held Li Qianmei in his arms. Li Qianmei's expression was even worse, and she began to wither. When Tuol Sen was hunting Wang Lin, he was afraid of injuring Li Qianmei, so he had surrounded her in origin energy to maintain flowing time and stored her inside his storage space. This allowed her to not be injured during Wang Lin and Tuol Sen's fated battle. However, being in the storage space was not as good as being right beside Wang Lin. In the short period of time that had passed during the battle, Li Qianmei had lost a lot of vitality. Looking at Li Qianmei's haggard face, Wang Lin's heart felt pain and sorrow. It was just like how he promised Li Muwen back then that even if the heavens wanted her to die, he would take her back. He had also promised Li Qianmei that he would give it his all to prevent her from dissipating from this world. This was his promise as a man. His right arm gently held Li Qianmei. Wang Lin ignored his injuries and continued to use his origin energy to power the flowing time spell around Li Qianmei. He helped nourish her mind and life force. The starry sky was very quiet, without any disturbance. Even the world seemed to dim. There was only a man and woman silently flying across the starry sky. The half of the ancient god finger bone was put in Wang Lin's storage space. He didn't have any mind to study it. Even the origin soul of the white-haired old man from the Moon clan that was wrapped by the soul lasher was sealed so he couldn't move and put into Wang Lin's storage space. Wang Lin didn't want anything to disturb him in this flight. He wanted to silently accompany Li Qianmei to Dao Master Blue Dream, or to be more accurate, to send her off for the last time. When I leave? You have to send me off, Li Qianmei's voice from 10 years ago echoed in Wang Lin's ears. Today, Wang Lin was fulfilling his promise from back then and sending Li Qianmei off. The beauty of space was not the bright nebulae or the flashing meteorites, but this extreme silence. In this silence, you could feel your own loneliness and experience the coldness of being the only one left in the world. Holding Li Qianmei, Wang Lin's eyes revealed a soft gaze. He moved toward the location of the Blue Silk clan and was getting closer and closer. Starlight draped over their body and seemed to silently accompany them on their last journey. Li Qianmei was becoming weaker and weaker, and Wang Lin had to use even more flowing time on her. As he continued to use spatial bending, they got approached to the Blue Silk clan through the vastness of space. The Blue Silk clan's star domain was in a remote region, and Wang Lin silently moved forward. The Blue Silk clan was one of the few rare clans that one shouldn't kill. Just like their name indicated, the hair of their clan members were all blue. The blue of pain and melancholy permeated the soul of every Blue Silk clan member. The Blue Silk clan didn't have much talent regarding cultivation or Dao. Throughout the ages, there weren't many powerful cultivators in the Blue Silk clan except Dao Master Blue Dream, whose name echoed across the ancient star system. Before Dao Master Blue Dream became famous across the ancient star system, the Blue Silk clan was a very small family. Although their cultivation levels were not high, they excelled in music, alchemy, treasure refining, and other non-mainstream practices. Their music skills had almost reached the peak of music. Every single Blue Silk clan member was a master of music, and the members of the Blue Silk clan were all beautiful. All the members, men and women, were all very good-looking. Due to all of this, the members of the Blue Silk clan became favorite pets among powerful clans. This was a sorrow and pain to the Blue Silk clan. This sadness permeated their hearts for a long time. This gave all the women of the Blue Silk clan a strange sense of beauty, and the men of the clan were the same. There was no longer any joy in their music, it had become the only way to express the sorrow in their hearts as they became slaves to the large clans. They didn't have a home. Every single Blue Silk clan member was taken away before reaching adulthood, with their life and death unknown. There was no chance of them ever coming back to their home. All of this lasted until the rise of Dao Master Blue Dream, which caused a drastic change. Dao Master Blue Dream was the most talented person in the Blue Silk clan. Legends of him continue to spread across the ancient star system to this day. In the ancient star system, when you mention Dao Master Blue Dream, you wouldn't think of how strong he was, but how infatuated he was with love. In his life, he had only ever loved one woman. This was the pain and sorrow in his heart that had accompanied him for ages. Rumor had it that it was due to Dao Master Blue Dream's love that he was able to reach this step and become one of the 5 masters of the ancient star system. Even the sovereign dreaded him. The Blue Silk clan became a big clan of the ancient star system due to Dao Master Blue Dream, but the nature of the clan didn't change. They quietly lived inside their huge star domain. The sadness in their music was gradually replaced by joy. They obtained their joy under the protection of Dao Master Blue Dream. To the Blue Silk clan, Blue Dream was their deity, and he received the respect and admiration of the entire Blue Silk clan. Mount Blue, the place he lived, had become a holy land for the Blue Silk clan. However, even though there was joy in the Blue Silk clan, the faint sadness in the music coming from Mount Blue would forever linger. Just like Dao Master Blue Dream's memory, that sadness had become eternal. At this moment, at the top of Mount Blue, there was a very ordinary house faintly swaying in the wind. Inside was a middle-aged man with blue hair, playing the zither before him. After a long time, he gradually raised his head. His appearance would make all other men in the world look dim. Even women paled in comparison to his handsomeness. It was as if his handsomeness shouldn't appear in the world. However, the fatigue and the reminiscence in his eyes gave him a melancholy aura that made him look old. He had a head of blue hair, but there was white hair near his sideburns. It was as if it was telling everyone that he had been unhappy for countless years. The middle-aged man's eyes revealed sadness as he lowered his head and looked at the zither before him. His hand slowly played. After a long time, the door was silently opened by someone, and a beautiful woman walked in. This woman was very beautiful. She was wearing pink clothes, and she gently approached him. The woman silently sat down by his side and softly said, "You still can't forget her." The middle-aged man didn't speak and didn't even look up. He only stared at the zither, and the sadness in his eyes became even stronger. "It has been a very long time, and she is already dead. Why are you still doing this?" The woman bit her lower lip and looked at the man with a complicated expression. "She isn't dead." The middle-aged man raised his head. His gaze was like lightning when it landed on the woman. "But what difference is there with her now and being dead? She is already dead." The woman stared at the man with a mournful expression. The middle-aged man silently pondered. After a long time, he stood up and calmly said, "Your elder sister is not dead." Crystal tears appeared in the woman's eyes. The middle-aged man let out a sigh as he pushed open the door to the house and walked out. As he looked at the distant horizon, the sun gradually set. He took a step, and his body gave off a soft, blue glow and he disappeared. The Blue Silk clan's star domain was extremely vast. At this moment, at the edge of this star domain, a woman in white had calmly followed Wang Lin here. Just as she was about to enter the Blue Silk clan's domain, the woman in white suddenly stopped and calmly looked ahead. Blue light silently appeared in the void before her. The middle-aged man that had disappeared from Mount Blue walked out. His eyes were cold, and he only said one word. "Scram!" The woman in white silently pondered but remained unfazed. Her expression didn't change at all due to this word. After a long time, the woman in white calmly said, "He has already been chosen, you can't protect him." Scram! Killing intent flashed across the middle-aged man's eyes. Although his voice was calm, an indescribable aura shot toward the woman in white. In an instant, an absolute killing intent spread out. The pupils of the woman in white suddenly shrank. She waved her right hand and drifted backwards. "He will have to come out." The woman's voice was still calm as she gradually retreated into the distance before disappearing. After moving for an unknown amount of time across the starry sky, Wang Lin brought Li Qianmei to the beautiful home of the Blue Silk clan, the place where Dao Master Blue Dream was, and Li Qianmei's home. As Wang Lin moved forward, the vast space became brighter. The star domain the Blue Silk clan was located in was very beautiful. Even the cultivation planets were like real stars that gave off a soft, blue glow that spread very far. Wang Lin looked at the sleeping Li Qianmei in his arms and softly said, "Qianmei, we are here." Just at this moment, endless, blue light came from the Blue Silk clan's star domain. When the endless, blue light appeared, a low voice echoed across the world. "Give her to me." The middle-aged man walked out of the blue light. He didn't even look at Wang Lin, only at Li Qianmei, who Wang Lin was holding. His gaze revealed affection and heartache. The moment his voice appeared, Wang Lin's mind trembled and he immediately looked up. He instantly saw the middle-aged man in blue, and a roar echoed in his mind. This man looked very similar to Li Qianmei. It was obvious at the glance that they were relatives. Dao Master Blue Dream. Wang Lin looked at the middle-aged man. He recognized his voice. This voice had almost brought him death. He would never forget this voice. This was unfathomable. No one would think that their short meeting a little more than 10 years ago in the seven-colored realm would result in them meeting again in person. The middle-aged man looked at Li Qianmei, and his heartache became even stronger. He waved his sleeve and a storm shot toward Wang Lin. He moved at an incredible speed and instantly closed in on Wang Lin. A powerful force surrounded Wang Lin and shrouded Li Qianmei. Li Qianmei softly flew into the middle-aged man's arms. The man held Li Qianmei, and there was affection under the heartache in his eyes. He turned around and walked into the distance, holding Li Qianmei. The blue light gathered toward him until he disappeared. From beginning to end, he never looked at Wang Lin once. When Wang Lin was hit by the storm, he retreated a few steps before he stopped himself. With a complicated expression, he looked at where Dao Master Blue Dream disappeared to, and became silent. He was almost certain that there was kinship between Dao Master Blue Dream and Li Qianmei. Since Dao Master Blue Dream had taken her away, he naturally had a way of reviving her. His previous plan was to leave the Blue Silk clan and this star domain. After pondering a bit, Wang Lin chose not to leave. He wanted to make sure that Li Qianmei would really awaken. While pondering, Wang Lin turned into a ray of light and flew straight ahead. He gradually entered the depths of the Blue Silk clan. He didn't need to spread out his divine sense, as he could clearly see a cultivation planet emitting a strong blue light among the endless stars. That was where Dao Master Blue Dream was located. This cultivation planet was covered in blue light, even the inside of the cultivation seemed to be covered in a blue light that permeated the ocean. Wang Lin moved forward and entered the cultivation planet. There was no protection formation, so Wang Lin floated in the air on the cultivation planet. The sounds of the waves of the ocean below him slowly entered his ears. There were some ships on the ocean, and music blew with the wind into Wang Lin's ears. The music was filled with joy. After a long time, Wang Lin took a step into the void and disappeared without a trace. When he reappeared, he was below a blue mountain. Mountains surrounded the area, and trees were everywhere. However, when standing before the blue mountain, you would feel like you were very small. The mountain was not blue on its own, but there was endless blue light coming from inside the mountain that made it look like a blue mountain. Looking at this blue mountain, Wang Lin revealed a complicated gaze. After a long time, he let out a sigh and rushed forward toward the blue mountain. However, when he got close, his expression changed and he stopped mid-air. He was less than 10,000 feet from the blue mountain. The moment the blue light entered his body, it turned into endless resistance force that stopped all from approaching. What a powerful restriction! Wang Lin stared at the blue mountain. With his understanding of restrictions, he naturally saw at a glance that this was not caused by a person, but by the light from the blue mountain. After silently pondering for a long time, Wang Lin's eyes lit up. Origin energy filled his body along with ancient god power. He moved like a meteor and entered the blue light. As he rushed in, the resistance became even stronger. In the end, It was like an iron wall, and thunderous rumbles echoed around Wang Lin. When his feet stood below the blue mountain, the resistance force felt like the heavens crushing down on him, and popping sounds echoed from inside his body. However, none of this was able to stop Wang Lin. He raised his head and looked at the blue mountain peak covered in clouds. His eyes were filled with determination as he began walking up the mountain. This blue mountain towered into the clouds with no end in sight. However, there were winding stairs that led to the top. Wang Lin walked step by step toward the top. He was extremely fast and didn't stop at all. As he walked, he used all his origin energy to resist the force pushing him back. He roared as he finished 30% of the stars instantly. However, at this moment, the resistance force from the mountain became earth-shattering. It was like a cultivation planet pressing down, preventing Wang Lin from moving forward. Every step he took, he had to bear endless pressure. What was even more shocking was that as he moved up, the resistance multiplied. Time slowly passed. Li Qianmei was sitting inside the ordinary house on top of the mountain with her eyes closed and her body giving off a blue light. Her father, Dao Master Blue Dream, was sitting behind her. His hands formed seals and occasionally pointed at the air. Every time he pointed, Li Qianmei's body would tremble. Black gas would come out of her orifices and disappear from the room. Waves of flute music echoed outside the house. It was the woman in pink sitting outside the blue house. She held up the flute and gently played. The music was filled with a complicated mood that echoed through the world, the house, and the mountain Wang Lin was climbing. When the music of the flute entered Wang Lin's ears, he had finished nearly 50% of the steps. He looked very tired and his eyes were bloodshot. The resisting force from the mountain was indescribable. It was as if several cultivation planets were pressing down on him. Every step he took was extremely difficult. Ancient god power moved through his body along with his origin energy, and a powerful force erupted from his body. His eyes shined as he lifted his feet and began walking once more. Popping sounds echoed inside his body and large amounts of sweat flowed down. There was the faint color of blood inside his sweat. It was due to his blood rapidly flowing inside his body and being pushed out by the pressure. His origin energy eventually reached a limit. As he breathed, large amounts of origin energy rushed into his body. As time passed, his ancient god power also reached its peak. These two energies supported him as he got closer and closer to the mountaintop. In 3 days, Wang Lin had climbed nearly 80% of the steps. At this moment, he looked up and could see the ends of the steps. However, he was extremely tired and his body was like a drum being beaten as the endless pressure weighed upon him. His body couldn't help but tremble. For an instant, he seemed to faintly return back to before he started cultivating and he was going through the exam at the Hengyu sect. The magnificent, resisting force was like the whole world trying to crush him. What was even more terrifying was that as he climbed up, not only was resisting force coming from above, but there was a resisting force pushing from below as well. He had to divide part of the force to stand still. Otherwise, if he relaxed, he would be blown far away. Under these two resisting forces, Wang Lin's face was pale and sweat soaked his clothes. However, his expression was filled with determination. He would reach the top and see if Li Qianmei had indeed awakened. After he saw her, he would leave, but before he saw her, even if the sky fell and the earth shattered, no force could stop him. I brought Li Qianmei here, so I must see it to the end. Wang Lin clenched his teeth, the taste of blood appearing in his mouth. He raised his foot and walked toward the mountain top once more. As he got closer, the pressure became even more unimaginable. After coughing out blood several times and when all his blood vessels were about to burst, Wang Lin had climbed 90% of the steps. At the top of the mountain, inside the house, Dao Master Blue Dream opened his eyes. The last bit of black gas came out of Li Qianmei, then she was surrounded by a blue light. Her withered face rapidly recovered and her eyelashes trembled as she slowly opened her eyes. The door to the house was pushed open and the woman in pink walked in. Her gaze swept past Li Qianmei and she entered a trance for a moment. After a long time, she softly said, "He is about to reach this place. Should we Dao Master Blue Dream lowered his head and looked at the zither. He touched it and softly said, you go. Tell him your name. Li Qianmei nodded and gently stood up. There was a hint of confusion as she walked out of the house. She saw the sun rise, and the confusion in her eyes became even stronger. Under the endless resistance, Wang Lin took the last step and set foot on the mountaintop. He stood at the top of the mountain. Here, the resisting force suddenly surged, turning into a silent roar. It pushed on him like crazy, but his body remained motionless. The moment he reached the top, he saw Li Qianmei. He saw the woman staring at the sunrise. Her clothes fluttered with the wind, making her seem like a celestial. The woman also turned her head at this moment and looked at Wang Lin. Their gazes met at this moment. Wang Lin revealed a smile. Li Qianmei had awakened. Father told me to tell you my name. My name is Blue Moon. Who are you? Wang Lin was startled for a moment and then looked at Li Qianmei's eyes. After a long time, he revealed a hint of bitterness and softly said, my name is Wang Lin. With that, he stopped resisting the force, and at that moment, he was thrown far into the distance. The distance between him and the woman at the top of the mountain was quickly pulled far apart. Even their gazes were gradually being blocked by distance until they couldn't clearly see each other. It's better we forget each other. That's fine as well. That's fine as well. Wang Lin was in a complicated mood that was impossible to comprehend. As he was being thrown, he turned around and walked into the distance. The confusion in Blue Moon's eyes became even stronger. She faintly felt pain in her heart, and there was a feeling of suffocation. Everything before her seemed to become like water. She was under that water and looked at a bird that was flying further and further away. Blue Moon didn't look back and softly whispered, Father, why do I feel like he is very familiar, as if he were a part of my memory? Very important, very important. The greatest distance in the world isn't the end of the world or yin and yang, but being forgotten. A wrong relationship occurred at the wrong place at the wrong time. It was all wrong from the start. If you two can start again after forgetting each other, then Father won't stop you. Even if he is selected by the ancient celestial realm, Father would dare to fight them for you. Instead of answering Li Qianmei's words, Dao Master Blue Dream closed his eyes and touched the zither. The greatest distance is being forgotten. Meng-er, when will you remember me? His heart was filled sadness. This sadness was very, very light, but it lingered in his mind. Wang Lin let out a sigh as he went further and further from the blue mountain until it looked blurry. It was as if everything before was a dream and now he had awakened from the dream. He had brought Li Qianmei here and now he was leaving alone. Wang Lin knew that he was very familiar with this lonely feeling, but he couldn't help but feel melancholy. After almost 2,000 years of cultivation, he had seen many things in this world. He had learned to live in solitude and devour that loneliness and that blue melancholy. Forget it, Wang Lin turned around and looked at the blurry, blue mountain. He vaguely saw a figure on the mountaintop before turning around and slowly walking into the distance. The figure of his back looked somewhat bleak as he gradually went farther away. The star domain of the Blue Silk clan was vast. Wang Lin walked through the stars and slowly made his way into the distance. He didn't know why, but he felt exhausted in his heart. This exhaustion came from his mind, from that faint feeling of sadness. He slowly walked the path he came from and arrived at the edge of the Blue Silk clan. Soon, he would leave the Blue Silk clan. His body reappeared from teleportation and was about to leave the Blue Silk clan. However, at this moment, he suddenly stopped and his eyes glowed like torches as he stared ahead. The starry sky before him was bright and quiet. It was beautiful but gave off a strange feeling. However, Wang Lin could feel shock when he arrived here. He was not unfamiliar with this feeling. In his 2,000 years of cultivation, he had encountered it many times, and every time, it meant a life and death crisis. The last time he felt it was just before Daoist water arrived. Wang Lin's expression became serious. This was the first time he had experienced this feeling since he got the ancient star system. Even when Tuol Sen appeared, he didn't feel this shocked. While looking at the calm space before him, Wang Lin gradually closed his eyes. His divine sense extended outward and found nothing. Wang Lin frowned as he opened his eyes. It was still empty before him, but that shocking feeling was even more shocking. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he closed them once more. Deep within his pupils, blue flames burned, and there was thunder around the edges of the flames. The yin and yang symbol of life and death appeared around the flame and thunder. The rotation of the yin and yang symbol formed karma, and then flickering of true and false appeared. 5 essences appeared deep within Wang Lin's pupils. As they rotated rapidly, Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes and looked ahead. His gaze could break through all obstacles in the world and allow him to see the source of all things. This gaze was infinitely close to the Dao gaze spell Wang Lin had accidentally used in the All-Heaven Star system. However, the moment his eyes opened, his pupils shrank. All the hair on his body stood up and the origin energy in his body cycled like crazy, causing his eyes to glow like lightning. Not far away from him, he saw a woman in white. The woman in white floated among the stars like a ghost. There was no sign of life or existence within her at all, even divine sense couldn't find her. Her long, black hair was draped over her shoulder, and there was a light shrouding her, making it impossible to see her appearance. It was as if a mysterious force was surrounding her so that all gazes would pierce through this woman. Wang Lin's mind became focused as he stared straight ahead. The woman silently stood there and silently looked at Wang Lin. A strange silence appeared before the two of them. She didn't speak, and Wang Lin didn't open his mouth. He normally wouldn't be able to see this woman, but the 5 essences in his eyes had allowed him to break open the heavens and see the strange woman that had followed him here. The first impression this woman gave him was a great shock. A great sense of crisis suddenly erupted from his soul. She isn't human. For some reason, this thought suddenly arose in Wang Lin's mind. After a long period of silence, Wang Lin slowly retreated. He moved very slowly with his eyes narrowed. His right hand was casually placed on his side and there was a faint sign of the blood sword. The woman didn't move at all and only silently looked at Wang Lin until he disappeared into the distance. After a long time, the woman softly muttered, "He could see me." As Wang Lin continued to retreat, he moved away from the woman. The shocking feeling weakened but was still present. Wang Lin's expression became gloomy. He didn't know why, but he recalled the bright light coming from Tuo Sen's star and Tuo Sen's change in expression just before he quickly escaped. Wang Lin felt like there was a vague connection. While silently pondering, Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he moved to the closest Blue Silk Clan planet. This planet was also emitting a blue glow, and oceans covered most of the planet. Wang Lin turned into a ray of light and arrived at the peak of a mountain. The cold mountain wind blew and Wang Lin's clothes fluttered. He looked at the sky as his 5 essences gathered in his eyes. After making sure the woman was not around, he sat down. What is this person's objective? Frowning, Wang Lin simply closed his eyes and began to cultivate. However, the essence in his eyes didn't dissipate, and he was extremely vigilant. Time gradually passed. In the blink of an eye, 7 days went by. During these 7 days, Wang Lin didn't move at all, and the woman in white didn't appear. After 7 days, Wang Lin opened his eyes and his eyes lit up. His mind was calm, but the figure of that woman took room in his heart, creating worry for him. This person didn't think that I would see her before leaving the Blue Silk Clan. She was standing just outside the Blue Silk Clan's star domain. The Blue Silk Clan has Dao Master Blue Dream, whose cultivation is incalculable. Perhaps this is the reason she didn't enter the Blue Silk Clan's domain. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. During these 7 days of cultivation, he carefully recalled what had happened since he entered the ancient star system. He gradually realized that this shocking feeling was already faintly present when he encountered Tuo Sen. At that time, he thought it was just because he had encountered Tuo Senator. However, after calmly analyzing it, he noticed that something was off. That shocking feeling wasn't due to Tuo Sen. Even when he brought Li Qianmei toward the Blue Silk Clan, that feeling was still there. It was just very faint, to the point where it was almost undetectable. At that time, he was worried about Li Qianmei, so he had ignored this abnormality that was already difficult to detect. At this moment, he calmed down and recalled these past several days. Under his careful observation, he finally noticed something. This person has followed me for many days before I entered the Blue Silk clan and then stopped following. Wang Lin's expression was gloomy. He had cultivated for a long time, and this kind of thing was rare. He had been followed by someone the whole way and hadn't noticed it at all. This is not right. Wang Lin's expression revealed suspicion as he remembered something. Even though I have 5 essences that allow me to see that person, without that shocking feeling, I wouldn't have wasted the little essence I have. That person has followed me all this way, but I barely ever felt anything. Why did that feeling suddenly become noticeable when I was about to leave the Blue Silk clan? Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. As he pondered, his origin energy cycled through his body. Then his ancient god power cycled through his body and his eyes became brighter. There is a bit more origin energy than before. Even though my ancient god power didn't increase, it seems more dense. It feels as if it has been compressed a bit. In particular, my origin soul and soul seem to be different. After experiencing something, they have become more sensitive. Wang Lin looked into the distance. His gaze penetrated the boundless space and landed on the planet Dao Master Blue Dream was on and the blue mountain on it. He vaguely guessed the answer and revealed a complicated expression. Under the endless resisting force he had faced during the days he spent climbing, his body had undergone a dramatic change. Although his cultivation level hadn't increased, the climb had made his senses much sharper. This allowed him to clearly sense that shocking feeling. Dao Master Blue Dream. If all of this was his intention, then my earlier guess is correct. The woman in white was worried about Dao Master Blue Dream, and that's why she didn't enter the Blue Silk clan. Dao Master Blue Dream used this method to secretly tell me that there is danger in leaving the Blue Silk clan. Wang Lin's mind was like that of a devil. He only needed a clue and he could be able to deduce the answer like breaking a restriction. This woman's background must be great if even Dao Master Blue Dream wouldn't dare to tell me directly and would instead resort to giving me hints. If this is all true, then who the hell is this woman in white? If Dao Master Blue Dream calculated all of this, he must know I would choose to stay in the Blue Silk clan. Wang Lin's expression became solemn and he looked silently at the sky. He simply gave up the idea of immediately leaving. He simply sat down on a mountain and began to cultivate. The fatigue that had been gathering over the years began to be released. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, Wang Lin had cultivated for a month on this planet. Origin energy continued to gather in his body. The injuries he had suffered while climbing the Blue Mountain had recovered. His cultivation had recovered to its peak while calmly cultivating on this mountain peak. On this day, endless, blue light appeared in the sky above the mountain Wang Lin was on. This blue light was gentle and shrouded the entire world. A vague figure walked out and gradually condensed. Wang Lin opened his eyes and calmly looked at the middle-aged man that had walked out of the blue light. Dao Master Blue Dream. I have 9 great spells. Are you willing to learn? This video will end here.